Today's video is going to be about the 3 principles that make you really successful in business that I've learned over the past decade. My name is Vip and I own Lumina Roofing and Exteriors and Lumina Homes here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm just driving to a job site, but it's like 27 minutes now. So yeah, I guess I've been driving for like 13 minutes, but yeah, it's a 40-minute drive. So I thought I'd go over just some things at the top of my head. So by the time I was 26, my businesses were doing multiple 7 figures in revenue and actually 7 figures in profit. So the past 3 or so years, I just turned 29 on April 1st. There's a lot that I've learned, a lot that was noise, a lot that was actually useful. I feel like the mount's gonna shake because I have a lifted truck and it has like mud tires on it, so the rotation kind of makes it a little bumpy, but yeah, nonetheless, I'll try to stabilize it, I guess. Sweet. So getting right into it, I think the first principle that you need to understand to be successful in business is that like there's good days and there's bad days, and that applies at a very macro level. That also applies at a very micro level. So for example, like businesses move in waves, so does the economy, so does real estate. And truthfully, in order to actually know the good times, you have to have bad times. Like if everything was just good and that's your baseline, you wouldn't know what good feels like, right? And a good analogy I use is like drugs for this. And I hate to use drugs for it, but like if you're consistently getting high or you're consistently getting drunk, eventually it just wears out and it becomes your baseline and you have to kind of like up the ante. And that's kind of what like success is like. So understand, if everything in business was just good all the time and you didn't feel like shit, like I feel like shit so often, it's actually kind of sad. And that's why there's not a lot of entrepreneurs. Like even while making like 7 figures in profit, I'll feel like an absolute bum some days. And that's just what it is, dude. Most of the highest performing guys I know, that's literally how they are. Like everything could be going right and then you'll have a shitty day. You'll have a really good day and you feel like you're on top of the world, and then you have another shitty day. And that's why like entrepreneurship is such a mental game. So you know, be okay with that. Like I really don't know what else to say in terms of what the remedy for that is. You kind of just have to suck it up and you understand some days you're gonna be freaking out, some days you're not. It is what it is. The people who are the last ones standing are the ones who go through the troughs and they understand that. Oh shit, let it go. All right, back to what I was saying. So there's obviously troughs in business, there's troughs in the economy, there's troughs in the real estate market, there's troughs in your emotions, there's troughs in relationships, there'll be troughs in your health, right? Like you'll get injured sometimes. There's even troughs on a very micro level, like your sleep. Your sleep might be shit today, but it's gonna be great tomorrow, dude. And that happens. There's troughs in your mood. So just, it applies to everything. And if you just aren't okay with that, entrepreneurship's gonna suck. It's gonna be like a roller coaster ride for you and you're gonna be tripping balls. So yeah, you know, just understand that. That's gonna make you successful. As long as you understand that, you're gonna stick it through long enough, because nothing bad is ever too bad and nothing good is ever too good. And then moving on. So the second point is like, I find this really interesting because I have friends who are in different industries as well, and I have friends in the same industry, and I see people struggle with this even at like the highest of levels. I think at a certain point you sort of get over it, but it's really hot. That's why like my face looks like it's sweating. But yeah, it's supposed to be, it's 22 degrees right now. It's supposed to be 26 degrees Celsius in about 2 hours. But yeah, point number 2, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. And the point of this is that like there's a uniqueness that every single founder, business owner, operator brings to their business, even in the same industry. Like a roofing company could be doing exactly what I do, be exactly what I do, offer the same products that I do, but they're not me and I'm not them. And that's kind of your own superpower, right? So most people spend their time watching their competitors, watching other people build shit. But like, you know, ignore the noise and stay locked in. And like, this starts happening, and social media really fucks with you with this, because what happens is when you're in an industry and I guess your phone kind of recognizes the algorithm, at a certain point it'll just start showing you all the ads for your competitors, and that will fuck with you, dude. Because here's the thing, and I learned this about 2 years ago, and I used to scroll social media a lot when I'd like, you know, take a dump. Like I've switched it to like reading ebooks or other shit now rather than just scrolling Instagram and Facebook, because meta ads were really fucking me up, because you kept seeing your competitors either A, killing it, or B, they're doing something that you thought you should have been doing, and then you start altering your course. But again, like I said, you're you, dude. Your superpower is literally you. Nobody fucking you. So while you could be in the same industry and somebody's doing something else, and a good example I like to give for this is like, think about athletes, dude. Like Ronaldo isn't Messi, and Messi isn't Ronaldo. That's kind of their superpower, dude. And like Mbappe's Mbappe, that's his superpower. And they're all different, and they might have a different style. Or you could even take a different sport like wrestling, take the WWE or like the UFC, like these MMA fighters. Every single person's different. They could have done the same martial art, but they have a different style to it. They have a different way of executing everything. And you might never know, you could be a trailblazer, dude. Maybe the way that you think could change the industry for fucking ever, but you're convinced that because somebody else is running ads a certain way, or somebody's doing something a certain way, or somebody's pushing these products or whatever, that they're right. And the truth is, dude, it's probably not it at all. And I actually know a guy at a local level, I won't say any names. Dude, this guy entered like an industry with like $1 billion industry, probably even more than $1 billion. I don't know what the market cap is on this industry, but he was a young dude, and he just kind of stuck to his guns and did what was unique to him and what he thought would work. And he's now worth like 70-ish million, I would say, somewhere around there. And the reason and there's like older guys in the industry who are doing things a specific way. So imagine if he just like went into this industry and was like, oh, I'm gonna copy what everybody else is doing. So you might think it's great, and it might be to get you up to a certain level of income, but God in the world has already differentiated you from the pack. Just hone into it, you know. And I love that because I use that so often. So instead of comparing yourself with others and like becoming paralyzed and trying to switch up your game plan, just execute what you think is right. Who gives a fuck, dude? And like, I can give examples on examples on examples of this, and you see it all the time. And like, it's so sad because sometimes I think people would be more successful, have a better time doing it, have more fun doing it, if they would have just stuck to what's true to them and be authentic to themselves. So that's point number 2, you know, like, ignore the noise, dude, stay locked in, and, you know, develop tunnel vision towards your goals. Win regardless. It doesn't fucking matter. Fuck your competitors. Who gives a fuck what they're doing? You know, it's not important at all in the long run. And the truth is, if you're actually going to be in your industry for a long enough time, most of them are going to disappear any fucking way. So who gives a shit? Point number 3, and I think this one's really important, and it's probably the hardest to do, and it's gratitude and perspective change everything. So I was reading one of Jeffrey Gitomer's books, and I read this about like 2 years ago. I think it's the Sales Bible, maybe. And he talks about how there's a saying that reality is 11/10ths perception. So like 11 out of 10 times of reality, like, you know how pies work and shit. I don't want to break down fractions here, but reality is 11/10ths perception. And there's always this adage that I hear people say that, life is 20% what happens to you and 80% how you react to it. And I call bullshit. I think it's 100% how you react to it. Like, literally nothing else fucking matters, dude. I know people who are upset at weather. I know people who are upset if it's fucking, dude, anything. The dumbest shit can ruin people's moods and fuck it up. And I think the only thing to actually fix it, the only way, is to just have extreme gratitude. Like, be grateful, dude. I know guys, and genuinely, I used to work at the gym, and this is actually an interesting story, man. When I was a kid, there was a guy who used to come to the gym, and I used to work the morning shift, so it was 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock. I was 14 to 20, 21 years old. I was to the tail end of my university when I quit and got another job, and then I did jewelry sales. But I used to work at the gym, and all the old guys would talk to me, and they would kind of impart like life advice. And I remember one of the guys, he had a terminal illness, and he used to show up to the gym. He was in his 40s, right? And he, like, I don't know, I was just insensitive, I guess you could say. And I kind of just asked the dude, I was like, yo, why do you come to the gym when you might pass away? You know what I mean? Like, your treatment might not work, you might die, and you choose to come to the fucking gym on a Saturday. Like, spend it with your family, right? And he told me that the most important thing that he had was hope. And the reason was because every single time he showed up to the gym, he felt like he would possibly beat his illness. And I think that's so important, because imagine how grateful, imagine the mindset you have to think like that. He told me that, like, even if there's a 1% chance that he's gonna get better, if he shows up every day and he's just grateful and he's gonna figure it out, maybe that 1% can double to 2 to 4, you know, eventually he can be at like 50, 60, 70, 80%. And that's how important mindset was for him. I'm getting another call, hold on. So what I was saying was the point was that he can double his hope. And the reason is because he was grateful for everything that he had. So even when things aren't going your way, everything's shit, just remember, reality is 11/10ths perception, dude. The fucking world could be blowing up, and at the end of the day, as long as you're okay with it, it doesn't fucking matter. And another story about this is actually like 2 years ago. We were actually doing a roof, and this family was from Syria. And it was like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I was just like, visiting the guys. They were setting up in the morning. And actually the mom showed up at the same time we were setting up. And she's an emergency RN. And I had no idea, right? Because I was dealing with the husband. But I was like, damn, like you should have told me that you work like night shifts. We could have started a little bit later, or maybe scheduled the roof for a day where you weren't working, so you're not going to be trying to sleep when we're nailing on your roof. And she was telling me, she was like, oh, like this is nothing. I'm going to fall asleep. Like I'm going to be sound asleep. Like I'm so privileged. I'm so grateful, because in Syria, she was worried about air raid sirens and literally like missiles dropping from the fucking sky. Right? So she was so grateful that it didn't even matter. Like that's literally perception, right? The perspective of it changes the whole scenario from a negative to a positive. And like I haven't experienced anything in my life, but when I meet people like that, I'm like, holy shit, like imagine how much they've gone through to be so convinced that everything actually is up in your mind. The reason that you get paid in business, especially if you're trying to make good money, is your ability to solve problems, because problems happening are kind of just what life is. Like imagine life without any problems. So when you have problems, you have to have the mindset to understand that problems are your chance to actually show that you have a great service, that you're actually worth the money that people pay you. And there's a difference between you and the competitors in your space, right? So like every level comes with its problems, and you have to reframe failure and setbacks as lessons instead of punishment. My ability to deal with these problems also get better as an operator. And there's things that I know I need to work on, right? Like leadership, employees, delegation, and things like that. So there's different problems at every level. You just have to reframe it in your head that this is what you get paid for, dude. Like this is what people want. When shit gets fucked up, homeowners want you to pick up. Your customers want you to fucking pick up. So just do it, because it's probably more positive than negative anyways, right? And if it is negative, guess what? You just learned something that should never happen again. And that way your business becomes even more valuable, because now you're not going to create these mistakes. Nations are overall impacted by popular media and popular culture at the time. So for example, if you grew up in the early 2000s, you grew up around like hustle culture, right? Where all the songs were kind of about hustling and stuff, and how it shapes you when you're constantly listening and feeding into that, and how it affects your thoughts and habits. So what I did is I actually made an Animal Ambition playlist on Apple Music. It's not public, I don't think so it is, but it's just music that I think that motivates me. And it has like 50 Cent, some songs by Drake, a lot of Jay-Z, shit like that. And I've been listening to like these same 12 to 15 songs non-stop over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like I'm talking walking the dogs, I'm talking if I'm going to the gym, driving, before appointments, everywhere, right? I'm listening to the music over and over, and it's constantly putting these thoughts in my head that are forcing me to think more positive, or to think like a hustler based off the music. Like you can pick this music to be anything, right? Obviously don't listen to like depressing shit and like emo music, but yeah, listen to like baller stuff. And it's been working wonders, dude. Like I can't even explain the benefits I feel from the actual impact of the word and the beat and the frequency. Like we're all I was listening to this podcast about how if you know anything about like cells and you paid attention in biology, is like all the cells in your body are vibrating and none of them are touching. That vibration is like a frequency that your body gives off. Your Wi-Fi gives off like a signal as well, right? That your body can absorb, that affects its cells. And even like the EMFs on like fitness bands, Apple Watch or whatever. And the point is that you absorb these frequencies, and you can also give off these frequencies. And there's frequencies that cause you to fall asleep, that change your brain waves. There's a lot of good books by Joe Dispenza on this. If anybody's like super interested in getting into depth, I think I'll probably make my next video on it. But just try it. Like if you're somebody who has negative thoughts, force yourself to flip it, because at the very top of like this pyramid that I like to think of it as like a diamond, right? Like a literal diamond. At the top is your self-concept. Fuck, I'm getting another call. What I was saying was like, so think of that there's a diamond, right? And essentially, if you have a diamond, at the very top of it is your self-concept. Your self-concept is literally your self-identity of who you are and what you are. For example, I'm the type of person who works out every day. I'm the type of person who's this. I'm the type of person who's this, right? And then there's 3 little pegs under it that I think impact your ability to reach whatever you think your self-concept is. Those are the thoughts you think, the actions you do, and the emotions you feel. So what happens is, like, I think the very primal level, like the very basic, the easiest is the thoughts you think, right? Because I can do that shit without any action. I could sit here and there's just thoughts going in and out of my head, right? So it's very easy to do that. Whereas the actions, I actually have to have willpower to be like, okay, I'm gonna go do this. But like, I can think about working out. It's pretty fucking easy, right? Like I just thought about running. That's it. So, and then the second is the emotions you feel. So because of the thoughts that you think, you have emotions that you feel, and then the action that you do kind of wrap it all up, and that's how your self-concept is built. And your self-concept controls almost everything you do and perceive in life. So what started happening is, with this playlist, the thoughts you think are changing. If I'm consistently thinking these thoughts that these songs are putting into my head, I'm forced to act in a way and feel these emotions emotionally that they would have felt in the song, and it's causing me to move differently. And it's been great. Like, I think everybody should try that. So if you have one takeaway from this video, I would say is that make a playlist of songs that make you feel like whatever the fuck you're trying to do. So like, yeah, that's pretty much the one takeaway from this. And yeah, this is like a 25-minute video. I'm gonna try to cut it up. We'll take some of the calls out there and out of it and make it shorter. I'm just about to get to this job site. But yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in, guys. This is Truck Talks number 3, I think. I'm gonna try uploading more, but clearly I've been super busy. It's because we're hiring. If you are watching this video and you're in the Calgary area, we're looking for a project coordinator for Lumina Roofing and Exteriors, and we're also looking for sales reps. Like, we're always looking for sales reps. Pays pretty decent. You know, if you're a hustler, you're gonna make good money. If you're a project coordinator, just be able to lift 50 pounds and have a clean driver's abstract. Email your resumes to info@lumina.com.